Hello there, children. May I ask you a question? Have you ever wondered how God saves his people? Let's hear the story of Moses, from the river basket all the way to God's 10 Commandments. Now, a long time ago, God had chosen a special group of people for a special purpose. These people were called the Israelites. But at this time, they were slaves in the land of Egypt. Their master was Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and he was very cruel. He forced them to work from morning until night, building his cities and carrying heavy loads. And then Pharaoh made an even more terrible decree. Every baby boy born to the Israelites must be killed. The people cried out to God for help, and God heard their prayers. In the middle of this dark time, a baby boy was born. His mother hid him as long as she could, but when she could hide him no longer, she made a little basket out of reeds, covered it with tar so it would float, and placed her baby inside. She set the basket gently among the reeds at the edge of the river. And the baby's sister, Miriam, stood a little distance away watching to see what would happen. Soon, Pharaoh's daughter came down to the river to bathe. She saw the basket, and when she opened it, the baby cried. Her heart was touched. "This is one of the Hebrews' children," she said. Miriam quickly stepped forward. "Shall I go and find a woman of the Hebrews to care for the baby for you?" Pharaoh's daughter agreed, and so the baby's very own mother was called to nurse him. The child was named Moses, which means drawn out of the water, and God had a mighty plan for his life. Moses grew up in Pharaoh's palace, surrounded by riches and power. But he never forgot that he was one of God's people. One day he saw an Egyptian beating an Israelite slave. In anger, Moses struck the Egyptian, and the man died. Pharaoh was furious and wanted to kill Moses. So Moses fled from Egypt. And lived in the land of Midian, where he got married, had children, and became a shepherd, caring for sheep in the quiet desert. One day, while Moses was watching his sheep near Mount Horeb, he saw something strange, a bush on fire, but it was not burned up. He came closer, and then a voice called out, "Moses, Moses, draw not nigh hither. Put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground." Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. The Lord said, "I have seen the suffering of my people in Egypt. I will send you to Pharaoh, that you may bring forth my people out of Egypt." But Moses trembled and answered, "Who am I, that I should go to Pharaoh. They will not believe me. I am not a good speaker. Oh, my Lord, send someone else." God was patient with Moses. He said, "I will be with thee." And to prove his power, he gave Moses signs. God said, "What is that in thine hand?" Moses answered, "A rod." "Cast it on the ground," said the Lord. Moses cast it down, and it became a serpent. He fled from it in fear. Then the Lord said, "Put forth thine hand, and take it by the tail." Moses reached out, and the serpent became a rod in his hand again. Next, God told Moses, "Put now thine hand into thy bosom." He placed his hand inside his cloak, and when he drew it out, behold, his hand was leprous, white as snow. God told him to put it back again, and when he drew it out, it was restored like his other flesh. Through these signs, God showed his power, and though Moses still feared, God sent his brother Aaron to go with him and promised, "I will be with your mouth and teach you what ye shall say." At last, Moses obeyed and began his journey back to Egypt. So Moses returned to Egypt with his brother Aaron. They stood before Pharaoh's throne and declared with boldness, "Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, let my people go." Pharaoh's eyes narrowed. His voice thundered through the hall. "Who is the Lord that I should obey his voice? I will not let Israel go." And so, the battle between Pharaoh's pride and God's power began. Moses stretched his staff over the river, and before their very eyes, the waters of the Nile turned to blood. Fish floated to the surface, the air stank, and the people could not drink. Yet Pharaoh's heart was hard. Frogs by the thousands leapt into houses, onto tables, even into Pharaoh's own bedchamber. Can you imagine Pharaoh brushing frogs off his crown? Still, Pharaoh hardened his heart. Moses struck the dust of the ground, and it became lice that covered every man and beast. The magicians of Egypt tried, but they could not match it. Still, Pharaoh would not yield. "I will not let the people go." Then came swarms of buzzing flies, filling houses, covering food, darkening the air. The land groaned under their torment. Yet Pharaoh clenched his fists in stubborn pride. A deadly pestilence swept through the cattle of Egypt. Strong bulls, donkeys, and camels fell lifeless in the fields, but not one of Israel's animals died. Still, Pharaoh's heart was like stone. "I will not let the people go." Moses threw ashes into the air, and painful boils broke out on the Egyptians. Even Pharaoh's magicians could not stand before Moses because of the sores. Yet Pharaoh hardened his heart again. Moses raised his staff, and hail rained down with fire mingled in it. Crops were shattered, trees splintered, and men who stood outside were struck dead. Egypt shook with fear. But Pharaoh's pride remained. Then locusts came, devouring every green thing left in the land. Fields were stripped bare, and the people cried out. Still, Pharaoh's heart grew harder. Darkness fell, thick, heavy darkness that lasted 3 whole days. No one moved, no one saw the light of the sun, yet in the homes of the Israelites there was light. Still, Pharaoh's voice growled, "No." Moses warned Pharaoh of one last dreadful judgment. In every Egyptian household, the firstborn would die. But God gave his people instructions. Kill a lamb and mark your doorposts with its blood. That night, the angel of death passed through Egypt. Cries of sorrow and terror rose from Pharaoh's palace to the humblest home. But wherever the blood was seen, the angel passed over. God's people were safe. At last, Pharaoh's pride was broken. With trembling lips, he cried out, "Rise up, and get you forth from among my people." The Israelites were free. The Israelites left Egypt quickly. But soon Pharaoh changed his mind. He sent his army to chase them. The Israelites came to the Red Sea. In front of them was deep water. Behind them was Pharaoh's army. They were trapped. But Moses said, "Fear ye not. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord." He stretched out his hand over the sea. God sent a strong wind, and the waters parted, standing like walls on either side. The people crossed through on dry ground. But when Pharaoh's army tried to follow, the waters returned and covered them. Not one of them remained. God had delivered his people. After many days, the Israelites came to Mount Sinai. Thunder rolled, lightning flashed, and a thick cloud covered the mountain. The people trembled, but Moses went up because God called him. There on the mountain, God gave Moses 2 tablets of stone, written with the very finger of God. On them were 10 commandments, God's holy laws for his people. The 10 commandments. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any idol. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Honor thy father and thy mother. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Thou shalt not covet. From a baby hidden in a basket to a prince in Pharaoh's palace, to a shepherd in the desert, to God's chosen leader. Moses' life shows us that the Lord is mighty to save. And the 10 Commandments remind us how to love God and how to love one another.